A very warm afternoon to all my lovey-dovey kids. I hope that you must have all enjoyed your vacation and you are now refreshed and rejuvenated. Well, my friends, I, Sakshi Singh, welcome you all in this economics session. So, this is the first session of this chapter 2, that is People as Resource. Well, my dear student, before I proceed further, I would like to tell you a few things. Few things that there you will find one video that is a synopsis of this chapter. Okay, today you just only listen to it very carefully. Fine. Then in this presentation, I would be sharing this presentation for quick recap. So I would request you that you can use your headphones for the better sound quality, and please do listen to it very quietly and attentively, because in this session I would be dealing with the terminology of this chapter. Because before you must know about this chapter, you should know that what are the key terms of this chapter and what does it mean, and what those terms play means, in what way those terms play important role. Okay, so here I begin. So I welcome you all. This is the first presentation. Okay. Well, the topic is okay. The chapter is, that is people as resource, and this is the second chapter in your economics. Now, here you can see various terms. Okay, that is resource, people, team member, team analyst. What are these terms mean? Okay, you will get to know further. Well, before we proceed towards the terminology of this chapter, we should know what is the goal. Because you know what, whatever the chapter you are learning, or whatever the chapter you are going to do, irrespective of any subject, what is the purpose of that chapter? Why are you going to study that chapter? How that chapter is going to help you out? That you should know. So here, first is to develop knowledge and eagerness regarding human resource. What do you mean by human resource? You will get to know. To know about investment in human capital. Oh my God! Again, there are two terms. What do you mean by investment, and what do you mean by human capital? Next is the term to know about human capital formation, and to make you understand about different economic activities performed by men and women. Okay. Now, next we have the aim and objective of this chapter. First, to make you visualize about human resource, to be able to respond text-based questions, to make you understand about human capital. Next, we have what skills are you going to learn? Okay, you should know that. What are the skills are you going to learn through this chapter? First is emotional skills, development of imagination and excitement. Thinking skills, to let you free to connect to the text to their life. See, it would be very easy to understand any concept if you would be able to relate it with your own life. So here in this chapter, whatever the examples and the case studies are there in your chapter, that is fine. But I am going to give you many examples as such that which you would be able to relate it with your own life. And it will be easy for you to connect it, and you will be able to understand it well. What are the topics of this chapter? Of this chapter, topics first is, that is introduction and terminology, that we are going to do today. Economic and non-economic activities, economic activities by men and women, quality of population, health and training, unemployment, and the conclusion. So these are the different topics which I have divided into different sessions. Fine. So today it is, that is a turn of key terms. That's important, and please listen to it very carefully. So here I go. First is human capital. Oh my God, what do you mean by human capital? And you are surrounded by human capital. In what way? Let's check it out. It is a stock of skill and productive knowledge embodied in human knowledge. Now, see, here if we talk about human being, it is a stock of skill and productive knowledge embodied in human being. See, as far as human being is concerned, Okay, you know your parents, you know your teachers, you know your any person XYZ who is productive and full of skills, okay, knowledge, experience. That is human capital. And this you have, and this term you have studied in the chapter 4, that is story of village Palampur. Next is human resource. Now see, human resource, what is human resource? The people who make up the workforce of an organization, business sector or an economy, like us. We are the people, we are the workforce of somebody. So we are making the organization. So we are the human resource. Human resource means the people who are there in any organization, any sector or any in an economy. So for an example, like you can say your school. What are the resources, human resources in your school? Your teachers, staff, every XYZ is a part of manpower and workforce, it's human resource. What is human capital formation? Human capital, you know that. Now, we have skills, we have productive knowledge even, but when we are going to use it, okay, how? When we would be more educated, when would be more healthy, and we would be able to use our skills, our knowledge. That is human capital formation. When the existing human resource means us, is further developed by becoming more educated and healthy, we call it human capital formation. That is GNP, gross national product. GDP, you know that, okay? It is an estimate of total value of all the final products and services. Mind this, all the final products and services turned out in a given period by the means of production owned by a country's residents. That is gross national product. Economic activities that you all know, teaching, mopping, swapping, everything, whether it is, we talk about tailor, we talk about cobbler, we talk about farmers, we talk about any industrialist, any person who is working, is economic activities. That is activity. And that is economic activity, and there is another one, that is non-economic activity. The activities which result in the production of goods and services and value to the national income are called economic activities. See, economic activity, we do lots of activities. There are few people who do with for the self consumption, okay, not for earning profit, but for charity and all. That is not economic activity. Any activity which you are performing for the purpose of earning money and it is contributing something in national income, that is economic activity. Then market activities, the part of the activity which produces such goods and services that are again purchased in the market and the provider of the service gets paid for it. The economic activities and market activities are same. Non-market activities and non-economic activities are same. This is also for the something. See, we are there in a market. Okay, just listen to me very carefully. We are there in a market. There are two persons only. One is a buyer and another person is a seller. Seller sells and the buyer gets the money. The buyer, he receives a service and he gets give the money against that service or any commodities, whatever. So here, if you talk about market activities and economic activities, the sole purpose of earning money, and it is related to the market where there is a buyer and where there is a seller. Non-market activities, those activities which are not concerned with wealth or money. These activities are mainly for self-consumption. Okay, for an example, housewife. Yes, it's the fact, because housewives, whatever they do, they are not earning anything. Okay, so they are just contributing, they are doing work where in a home, though it's the most important thing, but it's not market activity, it is non-market activity. What is unemployment? You all know that. What is unemployment? A situation in which a person is willing to work at current wage rate but doesn't get a job. Now, see, here the thing is that a situation where a person is willing to work at whatever the salary is there, whatever the wage rate is there, but there is no job for him. Okay, there is no vacancy for him. That is unemployment. Mainly in India, if we talk about, there is a term underemployment. Okay, why? Underemployment is that where a person, but he is like being judged with the less potential. He is like, for an example, I'm saying there is a man who is graduate. So instead of working or instead of teaching, he is what doing what? He is writing a, suppose he is driving a auto rickshaw. So what is his capability? His capability is to teach, is to much more better, equivalent, whatever the education is there is equivalent to that. But he is not that. Less than his capabilities, he is working. And the person also, the less than his capability, they are getting the amount. Suppose a manager, there is a manager of great person. Uh, he supposed to earn rupees 20,000. But as there is no vacancy, he adopted as a clerical position and he is earning less than that, suppose 10,000, 11,000. So it means that is underemployment. So in India, you will find more situation of underemployment because see in India, every person has to earn his livelihood and unemployment allowances are not much. Okay, so person has to work for his livelihood. So they will have to compromise with that. So that's why this is the reason that in India, underemployment is more less than of unemployment. Literacy rate, it's very important. It can come in 1 marks also. It can come in fill the blanks. Even you can say in fill in the blanks, even true false. Okay, there are would be many options would be there. This is the percentage of people above the age of 7 years with the ability to read and write with understanding. Vocational education. What is vocational education? See, vocational education, it means take that when you are when you are possessing specific skills to perform specific tasks. Okay, for an example, mobile repairing. Okay, electrician. If you talk, electrician has that specific skill. Okay, that if you ask him, he would repair anything related to electricity. Mobile, if you talk about mobile repairing skill, if you want to want to give your mobile for repairing, a person who is possess that skill, he would able to repair that. That is the vocational education. It is related to any trades, crafts, careers, whatever, from tradesman, craftsman to a professional position. Infant mortality rate, that is IMR. It is the death of a child under 1 year of age. Birth rate, it is the number of babies born there for every 1,000 people during particular period of time. Death rate, it is the number of people per 1,000 who died during the period of time. Virtuous cycle. Now see, this virtuous cycle and vicious cycle, these are the two types of cycle. You perhaps must be acquainted with these terms in your first chapter, that is the story of village Palampur. Virtuous cycle, you can say it's positive term. Fine. A condition in which a favorable circumstances or result gives rise to another that subsequently supports the first condition. For example, economic growth is one such cycle. Economic growth, but obvious, it would lead to with many other factors too. For an example, you can say, if you talk about economic growth, if we have better economic growth, our economy would increase. So, means it's a circle, positive, we'll get positive, and at the end, the result will also be positive. Vicious cycle. This is a negative term. There you can find favorable circumstances. Here you would find unfavorable circumstances. So see the vicious example of this vicious cycle I would like to give you from the first chapter, that is to talk about the small farmers, and they are under debt trap. Why are they under debt trap? Because they do not have enough money. So they will have to take money on a very high rate of interest from large farmers. They couldn't repay the loan. So to repay the loan, they take another loan. So in this like this, it formed a vicious cycle that at the end they are under debt trap. To solve one problem, they fall into a same problem of that is debt trap. Economic overload. What is economic overload? See, I will take example of a family. Okay, suppose there are 7 members in a family. In that family, one person is only bread earner. Okay, only one person is a bread earner. So just tell me one thing: all 6 members, don't you think that they are kind of overload in the family? Because I'm not saying that every person has to earn, but if in a large family, if there is only one person who is earning, it is they are not going to justify with that earning, because every person, that bread earner, who is a bread earner, he has to spend every penny of on each and every member. But if in that there are 7 members and suppose 5 members are earning, it means that what, they are having more income, so their expenses is also divided. But if you talk about the first situation where there is only one bread earner, the expenses are being divided. The expenses are borne by one person, that is a person who is earning. That is the overload. So the same happens with the economy also. When less number of employed people means suppose if we are employed, and in what way we are supporting more number of unemployed people, indirectly or directly. So you can relate it with that. That's why I have given this example, so that it would be easy for you to connect that. So there will be a condition of economic overload. So I would request you all to note down all these terms in your fair notebook. Okay. And you will find one more video. There you will find the synopsis of this chapter. Please listen to it very carefully. You would be able to understand other topics very clearly. Okay. So the second chapter, people here means us. Okay. And resource means the population. How asset and liability you would get to know after you watch that PPT. Okay. So I would request you that uh, you just copy all these terms in your fair copy. Okay. So that it will be easy for you to recap it. For a quick recap also, I'm just sharing this presentation also. Fine. So thank you all. I hope that you all enjoyed. If you have any query, you can text me on my personal window. Till then, stay blessed and stay